There's a little Hyundai i10 going off as a first time car for one of our subscribers. I didn't realise when he booked in that he was a subscriber. Little Hyundai i10 is off. Lad paid for it with the savings from working, so fair play to him. Interesting story behind that one. And that is the gentleman that came to buy that car with his son is from Trading Standards. Every dealer dreads that visit from Trading Standards. And that is the first time I've had Trading Standards visit me in the 4 or 5 years I've been doing business. And I'm taking it as a big positive because the gentleman deals with Trading Standards in Cornwall and has been watching my channel and said he found it fascinating to see from the other side as a car dealer what goes on in the trade. Now, you know that I wasn't going to miss that opportunity to sort of eke as much information from him as I could. First thing up, I said to him, is the car industry the one you get the most complaints about? And he did say you do get a lot of issues with the car industry. That and builders, he said, is probably the biggest thing you get. But interestingly, he said, as much of it, though, he says, is consumers being unreasonable and having unfair expectations is dealers in the wrong, which I found really interesting to hear from Trading Standards, because obviously our experience as car dealers is exactly that. The people are buying used vehicles, older used vehicles, and their expectations are sky high above what they should be, and what they think of their rights is sky high, and they have to be brought back down to earth again. Now, at this point, I did actually ask for clarification, because this is the point I've always driven home, is that a lot of the cars I sell, you know, the newest stuff I've got here is like 65 plates. That's already nearly 10 years old. A lot of stuff, like I just sold him, 2010, is now 14 years old. So I said, is there an allowance? Because a lot of people argue to toss me this. Within the consumer rights, he said, for the age and the mileage of the vehicle. He said, yes, there absolutely is. He says there is an allowance for how much you paid for the vehicle, what the mileage of the vehicle was, and what the age of the vehicle was, as to what is reasonable in terms of the repair expected. He agreed that when you're buying a vehicle of that kind of age, once you've had it and you've put thousands of miles on it, had it for a few months and put thousands of miles on it using the car, there's certain things that are acceptable that you should be expected to repair, not the dealer. It was also really interesting to hear from him, something that I've experienced in this trade as well, is he says that it's the way that people, as soon as something like an engine management light lights up on a dashboard, immediately assume that the dealer knew all about it all along and is dodgy and is dishonest and tried to hide it. He said, I know as well as anybody, he said that, you know, an engine management light could have been cleared well before a dealer got hold of a car, and until it's in regular use, it's not going to pop back. He said, I know that engine management lights can pop up at any time, and sometimes they aren't even that important. He said if he drove his own vehicle that has an engine management light that pops up on it every now and then, he just clears it and carries on driving it. He said, but more the point of the discussion was that this attitude where someone can buy a car off someone, be nice as pie, love the dealer to bits, but as soon as something like that pops up, the dealer becomes a demon, and he was trying to do them over all along, not just that it's an old vehicle that's popped up a problem. Unfortunately, though, he did confirm one fear of mine, and as those who watch the channel regularly know that I haven't had any negative interactions with Trading Standards so far, and I haven't had any court case so far, but he confirmed what I've said all along, which is the reality is you never want to get as far as court, even if you're in the right, because unfortunately the judges in those courts, this is probably a bit of a blanket statement, so apologies if anybody out there is a judge, aren't the kind of people that are buying old vehicles on a budget and don't know an awful lot about cars. So when it comes as to a point where it gets as far as a county court, the odds on are that even if what you're declining is reasonable, you probably will lose the case. And therefore his recommendation was that even if you are in the right, you're better off to pay up before you get that far. Which is frustrating, but as he said, you know, by the time you work out all your man hours and your time spent trying to defend the case, you probably are better off just moving on to the next car, getting the car back, sorting out whatever it is and selling it on to the next person. Now, another thing I wanted to check with him as well was that A lot of people have said in the past when I've had issues with sales on my cars that my forms aren't good enough. I don't cover myself well enough with my form. I was interested as well, selling him a vehicle or selling his son a vehicle. When I filled out my handover form, I actually got him to go through it with me and tell me whether anything I had on that form was considered as being unacceptable to trading standards, whether I was covering my back well enough with it or not. And he was actually 100% happy with the form. He said there was nothing on that form that he had any problems with at all. And my form does say stuff like, well, I'll get you a blank copy and show you. So it says, for example, here, that warranties cover unexpected breakages, not the failure of items that are consummate with use, an age of the vehicle, and non-essential for being fit for purpose, such as the vehicle bodywork, paint, trim, audio equipment, or the failure of standard wear and tear items such as clutch, friction plate, brake pads, discs, tyres, exhaust system, aircon, gas, wiper blades. Diagnostic costs will only be refunded where the fault is covered by the warranty. Also says down here that I reserve the right to offer a refund where the repair exceeds £500 or more. A deduction for fair usage will be made at 25p a mile from the sale price. No refund will be offered for modifications, repairs you chose to make during ownership. And a valeting fee of £50 will be incurred on returns, obviously if they come back dirty, not valeted. So to have someone from Trading Standards confirm, I mean at the bottom of the form it does say that none of these terms affect your statutory consumer rights, but to have someone from Trading Standards say that that form is totally acceptable and be happy to sign it himself, again, was a big thumbs up for me to confirm I'm doing things the right way. And the fact that he watches my channel and says that he feels I do things the right way was also obviously very pleasing to hear. Now, of course, the question is, will I get a warranty claim from the man from Trading Standards or not? He's bought a 14-year-old car with, what have it, 70,000 miles in it. It did have advisories on the MOT, but I took them down to the guys over here, had them deal with the advisories, put a couple of new tyres on it. So it's effectively advisory free on the MOT because we dealt with them. Like I say, it came with an MOT that was just been done, but the guys there spotted that the tyres weren't really up to scratch, so they did those. But they said all the rest of the stuff was okay. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You'll have to follow along and see if in later videos or not, we get a claim from the man from the Trading Standards. To be clear, he did say as a general rule he doesn't actually tell people he works for the Trading Standards. I imagine because he probably gets quite a lot of grief for that. I imagine it's a bit like a traffic warden for some people, isn't it? Appreciative he did, because it was really good to have that conversation and to confirm some stuff that I'm not living in a bubble, especially regarding that thing about people getting really aggressive with you when a problem comes up with the car. I think there's an assumption a dealer's not going to want to do anything at all. So I have to go in there like an absolute animal and just rip them apart and be shouty and loud if I'm going to get my own way. And so, yeah, apparently that is part of the course of being a dealer. I think we all know by now with me that's kind of water off a duck's back, because fair's fair. If there's a problem, I'll get it sorted whether you're shouty or whether you're not shouty or not. And if you're unreasonable, I'm going to do nothing for you, to be honest. So yeah, get in the comments down below, place your bets now. Do we think that's going to be a sale I regret doing or a sale I'm happy doing? Right, well, enough of that. The sun is shining for the first time in what feels like 6 months. So I need to start getting some other cars prepped, because we've got a viewing on the Kia Rio tomorrow. Again, first time car for somebody. And obviously our i10 is gone. The only other thing we have up for sale is nothing. We have nothing up for sale. As it stands right now, I have nothing up for sale. So I need to machine polish this Yeti and get that photographed. But that's going to take quite a while to do. So I think I need to jump on some of the other cars that don't need machine polish and get them cleaned up and get them up for sale. So a bit of Sunday help with my brother. He's got a Transit Custom. And they all, apparently, he's telling me all his mates have the same problem with these. They just pull the bolts out of the skins here and start to flop around. So I made up a bracket that I've put behind the skin here and then bolted through the middle. Yeah, I used this, I had a square washer, and what I did is made 2 holes for the bolts there, and then we put a little one at the front as well, like that, and then put that behind and sandwich it between the two. I guess the wind blowing on a door pulls them out the skin, but you'd think they'd make it a bit more solid than that, wouldn't you? Anyway, sorted, that's going nowhere. Well, there's nothing I have to do after a Sunday fix than go for a spin in the Firebird. My brother's not been in it yet, so let's go out in the sunshine, what sunshine there is, have a bit of fun. Top tip, people, when you're driving your Firebird around and you can smell asbestos. Check you took the handbrake off before you set off. We're sending smoke signals out. Let's stop at the pub. Deary me, that smells bad. Don't forget that the raffle for our 2014 Mini Cooper S Roadster convertible is still ongoing. You can win this Mini Cooper S. It's only got about 50,000 miles on it, I think it is. It'll come out to you with a brand new MOT and a 6-month warranty-wise package. When you enter the raffle, you will be supporting our charity this month, which is Canine Focus, which helps rescue and place dogs. Should you decide you just want to get involved, you don't really want the car, there is an alternative prize of £3,000 cash and about £1,000's worth of Top Don diagnosis equipment. There will be a link in the video description down below so you can get involved.